Howdy Ags. Welcome to Season 2 of Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast powered by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. And here we're dedicated to highlighting fast-growing Aggie entrepreneurs, learning how they overcome challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with other entrepreneurs and the Aggie Network. This season, we have some amazing Ags lined up, and they're going to share their stories, and they want to give back to the Aggie entrepreneur community. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your other host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998. Whoop!
Well, we got a little story for you, Ags. Jared Steffen, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2004 and former roommate of Aggie football great Jamar Toombs, saw an opportunity to bring a taste of Jersey to Aggieland. In 2019, he opened his first Jersey Mike's sandwich franchise on the Rock Prairie Road location, and it has grown gangbusters ever since.
So pass it back and listen up to Jared as he shares some good bull.
Welcome back, Ags. This is Aggie Growth Hacks, and Greg Martin and Chris Hunter. Today, we've got Jared Steffen, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2004. And Jared is the Jersey Mike's franchise here in Aggieland. Jared, you opened up Jersey Mike's, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it has been an amazing success. I know that your meatball sub is my son's absolute favorite meal. So thank you for bringing the Jersey Mike's meatball sub to Aggieland. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for joining us today.
Man, that's a slippery slope there. You know, with us cutting the meatball out, we're gonna have to convert your son over to that Philly cheesesteak.
Say, wait, what?
Yeah,
so,
man.
I'm gonna let you tell him that. I'm not telling that, man.
No. So
well,
great to be part of this, and really excited to get to experience this, guys.
Well, thanks, Jared. We know that you have immediately ingrained yourself into the business community here in Bryan College Station, and I see your brand everywhere. I see your cards, and I know that you're hustling out there and you're doing great things. But can you tell us why did you choose to open up Jersey Mike's in Aggieland? And then two, what's your favorite Aggie memory?
Pick Jersey Mike's. Kind of a weird, I didn't even know anything about Jersey Mike's. I had a buddy getting married in Austin. He went to Jersey Mike's. Being class of 04, we had New York Sub on Northgate. We absolutely love New York Sub. He and I both. He's a local business owner, Jed Waltemath. He has several businesses, and so great guy, great coming on for going back and forth. We grab lunch and we talk business quite often. And he knew we were moving back after my wife's residency program, our little hiatus in Denver for 3 years. We knew we wanted to get back to Texas to raise a family, and so then I just kind of started looking at what my different options were. He said, "Hey, you ought to check out Jersey Mike's." I checked it out. Hey, this is the closest thing to New York Sub that I've ever had. And let's give it a try. I call them. Hey, no, the franchise opportunity is not there in College Station. You know, I was kind of bummed. I was like, man, it took too long. So I started looking at other franchises. I looked at, while I was in Denver, I looked at Freebirds, pretty tough market.
Yep.
Chipotle starting in Denver, and they had some really tough requirements for Freebirds. And so, I was looking at just what I thought may work here. I also looked at that it's a sandwich shop. It should be something that's relatively simple. I can get some great employees. I can step out, and I can either chase another career, real estate. I got my real estate license. I looked at maybe doing some fix and flips, maybe starting to be a home builder and do construction. I got into Jersey Mike's and realized how much passion, how much detail goes into each one of these sandwiches. It's not a Subway, peel the wax paper off the meat, slap it on there, and send them out the door. It's talking to your customers, knowing your customers, being in the store all the time. And so those fresh sliced sandwiches, hot, fresh subs, they're great, but there's a lot more detail to making a good product, and the passion that goes into, a good business and making it successful. And I've definitely learned that. But picking Jersey Mike's, I contacted them again after I didn't see it come to town after a year. They said, yeah, opportunity is available. You ought to take a look at it. I started doing my research. Not easy with franchises, man. Franchises, they do guard a lot of their information. So it's tough to get a strong feeling. And I mean, you and I sat and looked at business plan, and, you know, I wrote business plan thinking I wasn't going to be nearly as successful as I have been blessed to be. Hit my year goal in 5 months with my revenue. I mean, it was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
But I mean, it's been a really, really good experience going up to New Jersey, meeting the owner that still works every day, meeting his wife that helps work, meeting everybody that grew the brand from when they were in high school. I mean, he bought this brand as a 17-year-old and grew it to what it is now. And Peter Cancro's amazing guy. I mean, he gives back, and I mean, he continues to give, not even for the accolades. I mean, a lot of times it's just silent giving and just being a heck of a philanthropist. And so seeing the passion, seeing the family draw, being from Texas, being from Brenham, you know, small town, coming to A&M and feeling that family environment. I mean, College Station growing like crazy, but still know everybody, right? You know, it's such a small town whenever you break it down and everybody knows everybody. It's just, whenever I went up there, I felt that draw with Jersey Mikes, and I got a really, really good feeling about everything. So that, and they weren't just handing out franchises, which is great. I had to fly up to Jersey. I had to go shake hands. I had to kind of go through an interview process. So knowing that they weren't just going to dilute the brand, that's important for me. And trying to go into business with a brand is a big decision that it's not going to wash out. I'm going to be stuck with a 10-year lease. 5 years down the road, the brand goes to the wayside. Something else comes in. You know, that was another thing, is they've got a pretty unique flavor profile with Jersey Mikes. They've got the fresh hot subs and the fresh cold subs. It's a little bit different than some of the other brands. I felt like I had some protection there. So, you know, did a lot of thinking. I kind of overthink everything, but thought about it pretty hard, and finally pitched the idea to my wife, and got some weird looks from her. Hey, you're going to go into food. You know, she knew I always wanted to go into business for myself at some point. Once she got done with the residency program and everything, I finally got that opportunity. And she saw my passion, and she stepped behind me, and she said, all right, let's do this. You know, she's 100% on board. And like I said, could not be more blessed with the way everything has turned out. So, and then
you really have brought so much to Bryan College Station with that attitude, with that spirit. So, I mean, we really do appreciate, you know, all joking aside, we really do appreciate you and bringing Jersey Mikes and the passion that you bring to our community.
Favorite A&M memory, man, hard to pin it down to one. Am I kissing up if I say it's whenever I joined K1 and got to meet
whenever you met Mr. Martin for the first time?
Had Mr. Martin, you know. No, I mean, it's, you know, coming off of September 11th, the red, white, and blue out was absolutely amazing. I mean, walking into that stadium and being a part of that and seeing that, I mean, just gave you chills. And that was absolutely amazing. I mean, I knew Texas A&M, my sister's class 01, 04, she got her master's as well shortly after. And so I knew kind of what to expect, but being a part of the Aggie family was just, it was amazing. And being part of the September 11th, you know, tribute, it was really, really cool. I mean, so I think that kind of stands out in my mind. I mean, I have a ton of different fun memories, some that we can't really discuss on the podcast, and then some, you know, some funny ones. I had a suite mate as Jamar Toombs whenever I was living in Kane Hall early off, and we had a fire drill, and they had to pull him out of there, and he was crying, and Jamar, what's wrong, you know? And
no.
The boat sank. What are you talking about, Jamar? He's watching the Titanic and didn't realize that the boat was going to sink. Come on, Jamar. Toombs, man. That was a good good fun memory as well. So no, we Toombs. And you're part of that, Derry. You know all about that one. So, but no, it was A&M. Great memories, but that's one that definitely stands out in my mind.
I love that. Pretty awesome memory right there. That's hilarious with Toombs there. That's awesome. Something that no one in the world probably has, right? I mean, that's pretty
The good thing is he's coming after you, not us, if he hears this.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's switch gears just a tiny bit here, right? And let's talk about COVID, right? What has been the most surprising thing that's happened, or challenges that has happened during COVID, and how are you hacking and overcoming those challenges?
So Jersey Mike's is about the experience. It's not just about great food. And we have great products, great ingredients, and it's fresh and it's made right there in front of you and you can taste the difference. But it's also about having those relationships. It's like a local deli. And not being able to really have those conversations with plexiglass up, with face mask on, you can barely hear each other talking back and forth. It gets frustrating. And it's tough to keep the morale up of, trying to talk through those barriers and trying to get everything right. The next thing is that everybody's switching to online ordering, and our online ordering blew up during COVID. And it's great that we have been able to thrive, and we've found how to pivot through this and really be successful through COVID and through such a terrible time for so many other businesses. But at the same time, it does definitely add challenges. Trying in a 1,500 square foot little build out in a very narrow building for me, trying to figure out where to put all these bags, trying to make sure that my $8, $9, $10 an hour folks actually pay attention enough to get all the orders, the online orders correct, all these third-party orders. The third-party guys, they're great, but they don't put a whole lot of effort into making sure any of those orders are right whenever they come to pick them up. In fact, I had an experience last night. We had Mexican food, and they forgot our queso. We contacted the DoorDash driver. Hey, sorry, I'm on another dash. Sorry, sorry about your luck. So, I mean, that's one that's been very, very difficult, just making sure that we focus on our in-house customers, but trying to focus on all the online orders and making sure we have everything 100% correct. Just having upset customers that they make mistakes online, they don't understand the online process, and then it kind of falls back onto us, and just not having that people interaction. I mean, that in-person interaction to be able to make things right. With people eating in-house, if something wasn't right, they open up their sandwich, they can bring it back to us and say, hey, I wasn't supposed to have tomatoes. I wasn't having, whatever the problem is. So it just really having to pay attention to details a lot more. And I mean, it's like I said in the beginning, our product is very detail oriented and making sure we have beautiful subs. It's not just about a great tasting sub. I want everything to look good. Everything's built the way it's supposed to be built. So when people don't get exactly what they want, it's tough for me. So
how do you do that? Because you can only control what you can control. So is it through education of your customers? Is it education of the third-party vendors? Is it systems that you build in place for your team? How do you manage the chaos that is beyond your door?
I mean, by stressing the importance and constantly stressing, constantly training the employees to look for those details, look at those build tickets of how the sandwiches are being built, marking everything, communication. I mean, it's all about communication in such a small area with that many people trying to work and trying to shuffle people through as quick as possible. It's just constant training. I mean, you can never let up on the throttle. And the biggest thing that I've learned is as soon as you get comfortable is when you start making mistakes. That's complacency is evil, and it's so hard to try to stress to always be better every day, make yourself a better person. And that's my biggest message to all my employees, and that seems kind of like a big item for a bunch of high school kids, a bunch of college kids, and, kids that are, not making a whole lot of money is try to stress the importance of growing to be a better person beyond Jersey Mike's, beyond, but always strive to be better in your life and get those details right. Aggie ring banging on the table here. But just getting the details right that way. When we make mistakes, own up to them. I try to make sure that I get my customers back in, give them something for free, refund their tickets. It doesn't pay to argue with the customer, obviously. I mean, in a customer service setting, what is it for me to lose $20 in the sale or whatever the ticket may be to, keep that customer happy? And that's the biggest thing is swallow your pride in customer service. And even if you know that they made the mistake on their end, I had somebody not understand how to order a sub in a tub, which is no bread. He had a regular bread bill ticket, a white bread, Italian number 13, and then in comments at the bottom he said sub in a tub, extra lettuce. For us, my employees should have seen that. They should have kept that pickup order off to the side and asked the guy whenever he came in. But it didn't happen. Hat in hand, I said, hey, we'll give you another free sub. And here's a couple screenshots. I was texting with him. And I gave him some screenshots and said, hey, in the future, here's how we here's how you would order a sub in a tub. And, just try to coach everyone. With the new brand, there is a lot of confusing parts about our app, about our online ordering. Things go down. We had our online ordering go down last night for a couple hours. We've got free delivery right now with our online app. Little plug. There's definitely a learning curve. There's always a learning curve of somebody walking in, we're building their sandwich. Hey, do you want a Mike's way? And they said, microwave? I don't want my sandwich microwave. I want Mike's way. Well, what's Mike's way? Onion, lettuce, tomato, wine, vinegar, oregano, and salt. So then you're just walking them through, and hopefully they love the product and they're coming back, and we become regulars to where they know exactly how to go through the process. We vet out, those mistakes. My biggest heartburn, I guess, is when there's a mistake made either on our part or on the customer's part. It's obviously always going to fall onto our shoulders, but if they don't reach out, then it just trying to get those customers back in to give them a better experience is definitely a challenge of trying to figure out how to identifying on our end when we realize that, hey, we had this extra sub. Oh, crap, where was that supposed to be? Was it supposed to be in that bag? We identify. I try to go back. I try to pull up tickets. I try to find phone numbers. I text. I call. I try to go above and beyond. That's whenever I'm in the store. And my manager tries to do that from time to time, but, being such a high volume store, some of it gets dropped. And so it does definitely make it hard to deal with.
But the fact that you're taking that time out to be able to communicate on those, and you can't do it for everyone, but to be able to make that up, that's amazing. And Jared, it sounds like that Jersey Mike's and your business really wasn't negatively impacted by COVID, but everyone has learned so much through the last 6 to 8 months. What's the biggest thing that you as an entrepreneur, you as an individual, you as a business owner in Aggie land have learned during COVID?
I would say, for me, whenever I'm in the store, especially right now, as we're kind of coming hopefully on the tail end of this, and even during the thick of it, make people comfortable. Try to still talk to people. Don't just treat this as an excuse to do half your job. Still give that customer service. Always stress the importance of the details. Like I said, with these online orders and even in house, there's a lot less talking between us and the customers. You have to make sure that you catch the details. You're making the sandwich, you're still talking to them, and treat them as a person and give them a break from the solidarity of COVID. It's sitting in their house, and teaching their kids, on Zoom, and they need a break. They need some interaction with other adults, or, sometimes hard to call some of my employees adults, but, they just need a conversation every once in a while. You know, I try to, every time I'm in there, I try to make conversation, especially when we're not slam busy, and try not to hold everybody up during a quick lunch rush. But you know, definitely trying to humanize the process. So trying to keep people engaged is one of the big things. And like you said, we weren't impacted greatly. We were definitely impacted along with everybody else. We probably lost about 30-40% revenue for about a month and a half. So, I mean, there was definitely an impact. Government stepped up. This PPP program was amazing for small businesses, and definitely utilized. Didn't know how long we were going to be impacted for. And, you know, I think I think at the end of the day, they're only putting a 60 or 65, 70% onus on the labor portion of the PPP, the latest thing I saw. But I mean, I gave out 85%, 82% of my PPP back to my employees. I staffed up heavy. I gave them extra hours. I made sure that everybody was taken care of. I was very, very transparent through the whole process. Hey guys, I got this money from the government. This is to help y'all. This is for helping the economy. And so this is what we're going to do with it. So I definitely tried to utilize it the way it was supposed to be utilized, and it worked out great. And like I said, we bounced back after about a 5-6 week period, and we've actually been up year on year, which is hard to believe.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So is there anything that is changing in your broad industry? Is there anything that you see on the horizon there, that's coming in, the restaurant industry? Just what's going on? What do you think is going to happen because of COVID, because of everything that's happened in the past 6 months?
And so much of it's such a kind of a gamble with, trying to figure out the future. It's so much, you have to try to weigh in how much of this is environmental. There's so many people that are starting to understand you don't need huge lobbies. Even with Jersey Mike's, my next store is 1,800 square feet. I wanted more area to kind of stretch my legs out, and have more catering area to be able to make these big A&M orders and everything else. And I'm excited to have the bigger store and have more seating. But at the same time, Jersey Mike's is starting to kind of look back and say, do we start experimenting with, pickup only stores? How much in the past, a Jersey Mike's would do typically, 70-75% takeout. So we didn't have a lot of seating because of those reasons. My store at Rock Prairie, we were filling the seats up pretty regularly. During COVID, it's been nice to be able to focus on, since there's been so much focus on the details of the online orders and trying to get those bags out there and trying to get everything set up to where it's the easiest process for people to walk in, grab their bags and leave and not have to, wait around. It's been nice not to have to focus on cleaning the lobby, wiping down tables every time somebody leaves, especially with COVID. Before we would be able to go out there and wipe down tables, as a few tables would start to free up and make sure that they weren't just filthy. And we'd sweep a couple times, throughout the day, just make sure it wasn't disgusting out there. But, with COVID, you've got such different perspectives of what the businesses need to do. And I think a lot of times people don't really understand what that cost is back on the business as well. Having to staff up an entire extra person just to do curbside or just to do the takeout, just to load bags, make sure that all those bags are right. And during a time for a lot of businesses when revenue is down, that's really, really tough. But as we go forward, are people going to get used to this new life? Is this the new norm? Obviously we'll come out of this and we'll go back to some normalcy, but
yeah,
for a restaurant, are we looking at a new, a new horizon, a new path
how they want to interact with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, is this going to push more people to continue to do third-party delivery and, in-house delivery or whatever it is it going to shrink the footprints of restaurants to where they don't have quite as much of the burden of the rent and everything, all the overheads? Honestly, like I said, I wish I had that answer, because as I'm on the brink of trying to find a third and a fourth location, a fifth location, as I grow my franchise, I really would love to lower my responsibility or my overhead responsibilities. But at the same time, I don't want to lose business because of not. I know there's a lot of people that are not going out to eat because of the inability to sit down with coworkers or with friends and have an in-house experience.
Yeah, especially distanced in-house experience.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So as you're looking at building that franchise out, when you're looking at locations, are you looking at somewhere where you can build, something with a drive-through window maybe, or anything like that? I don't know if Jersey Mike's does that, but
they've experimented with it, and I really pushed it hard on my first location, which I'm glad I didn't do for my first location. Obviously, this location, even on the end cap there, I've got electric gutter, just the overall plans. It's really, really hard to get in with a drive-through just because city planning has to build an entire traffic plan for that, for the parking lot, and the number of traffic or the parking spots for the building based on what they think the tenants are going to be and how many restaurants can be in a development and everything. So there's a lot of rules and regulations on the drive-through. Trying to get a second-gen drive-through is not easy either. I do have one on the table, possibly down University right now, and I'm definitely taking it serious. But at the same time, you get a drive-through, you don't have that experience, so you're taking out a big piece of Jersey Mike's. It's the talking to the customers and trying to relate with them and learning their face and what their order is. I've got some employees that know exactly what people are going to order as soon as they walk in the door. Hey, you having a number 13 on rosemary parm today? No onions, extra vinegar. They know exactly what the order is because we have these regulars that come in, some of them a couple times a week. And so not having that interaction, it'll play out that don't want the interaction. And like I said, seeing how this landscape changes as we come out of COVID now, and we kind of go back to normalcy and having the interaction, are we going to go back to complete interaction? Is this going to change the landscape? So I like the idea of at least having one location with the drive-through. I definitely think that we miss out on some of that, but then I see some of these, there's a Subway in town that has a drive-through and they don't even use it. And so I don't know, like some of these businesses don't even utilize the drive-through, even if they have the drive-through capabilities. So what does that mean? I haven't taken the time to really dig into their business plan to figure out why they're not utilizing that. With the Subway, all the toppings, trying to figure out what those toppings would be on the sandwich and getting that right, and keeping everybody happy would be.
That's a little bit more challenging than saying, hey, I want a number one with a Coke. When your biggest variety or variable is the drink.
Exactly.
Well, Jared, you talked a lot about growth, and you are opening up your second location at so you're right off Rock Prairie, but now you're going to be at the new HEB location. I think you alluded to Brenham, potentially Bryan. So having 3 or 4 or 5 locations, you are a huge shop local guy. You have integrated very quickly into the business environment of here in Bryan, College Station. So what is your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal? Is it to be the biggest Jersey Mike's franchisor in Texas, in west of the U.S., the entire U.S.? What's your BHAG?
Man, I'm chasing $5 million a year in revenue. That's my biggest goal right now. Whether that's 4 stores, that's 5 stores. I know what my EBITDA number is, and I just
your earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, all that.
Right.
Start to sound like a bank nerd.
All right. So, I keep kind of doing the math, and for me, again, quality of life. I want my wife, she's a full-time family medicine doc for Baylor Scott and White. Baylor Scott and White's been amazing to us. They were amazing through the twin situation. But I'd also love for her to be able to take a step back and play that role of mom a little bit more, because she is an amazing mother to our girls. But I also want to be here as much as I can, and spend time with my wife. I definitely think that, business it's such a hard balance, as we all know, with, especially once you kind of get into the entrepreneurial route. I can go up to the store, tell my wife, hey, I'm just going to go up there and pop in. I'll be back in 30 minutes. And 2.5 hours later, she's calling me, where the heck are you? The twins have pooped 3 times. I'm tired of changing diapers. You need to get home. They're crying. So it's tough to balance that drive of wanting everything to be perfect in my stores, and also getting back and making sure that I'm the best dad and husband that I can be.
Love that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big hair, hey, like I said, 5 million, man. That's
Nice.
That's my chase right now. I really want to hit that number, and if I can do that, I think I can afford to hire some great people underneath me, and that's my biggest challenge, my biggest goal to do over the next year and a half, is to really identify great talent that I can bring with me and offer them a great lifestyle along with me, to take some of that pressure off my shoulders as well.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Great BHAG. All right, this brings us to our lightning round. All right, real quick, real fast. Right, we're just gonna shoot these. No, I'm just kidding. So, here's the rules on lightning round. You got to answer it within 1 minute or less. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start off with, what is your favorite hack? This can be personal or business.
I love hacks, but man, magic erasers for parents, man. I don't know if it's really a hack, but my goodness, those things are amazing. Business hack, polishing the walk-ins with mayonnaise. Never heard of that one, but the aluminum on the side, cleaning those things. I have an employee from another store in another town in Fort Worth, and he was like, yeah, mayonnaise, you're full of it. Now, rub down and walk in with mayonnaise, and that thing was shining. It was perfectly clean. I would never believe it. I don't know if it's just the oil in there, but it worked amazing.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Well, what is one book, podcast, YouTube channel, something that you're getting a lot of value out of, that you think that our listeners would also get a lot of value out of?
Man, I wish that I was that ambitious too. I'm awful. I will tell you, the 2 books that sit on my bedside table that I'm still not cracked open is a whiskey manual of the different whiskeys, areas, everything else. And I went to a Walter Bond motivational speech. Jersey Mike's was parading him around, and he had a book, and I've still yet to crack that one open. I am absolutely awful at taking the time to read.
All right. I totally get it. I'll throw one at you then. Getaudible.com. Right. Okay. And just pick a book. I recommend Profit First. Get a book. Greg, if y'all don't know, our audience doesn't know, Greg Martin is a Profit First professional. So anyways, it's just short plug in there.
Right.
All right. So we all know how valuable that the Aggie Network is. Is there anyone in the Aggie Network that you'd like to say thank you to?
With the Aggie sports, the trainers and everybody reaching out to me and making my business successful with their orders. Aggie moms. My mom was a federation president for Aggie moms in the earlier 2000s. And those ladies are amazing as well. I try to help them out as much as I can whenever they have their meetings and Aggie mom boutiques and everything else like that. So I've got a couple people that I know up in the association and everything, but as far as like direct, like I said, the sports side of things, they've been amazing to me. In fact, I'm doing 2 massive, I'm feeding the football team today, and the girls soccer is actually heading to, I think Ole Miss, and so just dropped off right before got back home for this, dropping off boxes for the A&M girls soccer team. So if they win, we know why.
That's exactly right. And thank God for Aggie football. I think that we are all ecstatic that the SEC is stepping up.
Absolutely.
And it's great to hear that you've constantly given back to the Aggie Network to be able to be connected. But how can the Aggie Network support you?
Aggie Network, being such a close-knit group, is just getting the opportunities to prove myself, being able to kind of break through that shell of being part of their vendor list. I help out A&M Transportation. I help out the sports. There's a couple departments that I've helped out along the way. But just trying to get in with the different groups and having the opportunity to prove that we are going to exceed expectations, hopefully, and that we can continue to give back to A&M. And, as I move forward and get more of a footprint here in town, and I'm able to kind of give back to the university more so as well, sponsoring some different events is really something that I'd like to get into doing as well. So I know with Learfield Sports, they've been trying to kind of court me to try to do some sports marketing and stuff like that. So we're looking at that as well. And I want to say Jersey Mike's corporate is looking at teaming up with Texas A&M here in the near future as far as so.
Awesome. So how can the Aggie Network get in touch? How can they to do this, to get in touch with you and help you? How can they get in touch?
Man, I have my cell phone on my card at the store, but hit me up on my cell phone. Shoot me a text. They can email me, JerseyMikesBCS at yahoo.com. My name, or you can. My phone number is 979-219-0854. Like I said, you can go in the store. I try to keep a card up there. I randomly get calls from customers that want to order number 17 or a number 7 while I'm sitting at the house having dinner, and I'm like, oh well, let me take care. Let me write down your order so we don't get it wrong. But this is actually the owner's cell phone, so I'll give you the store number so you make sure we get your order right. But I'm always available, and I don't try to hide behind a veil of a fake number or fake email address. I did just set up that email address just to try to keep my spam filter from filtering out all the important emails and all the multiple junk mail. So.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being part of the local economy. Thank you for bringing Jersey Mike's in, at least for a little while longer, the meatball sub to Aggie land. It really has been such a privilege to be able to speak with you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your open-handedness. And if y'all have not stopped by the Jersey Mike's Stub, there's one off Rock Prairie, and then one's opening up in Jones Crossing, soon to come to Brenham, Bryan, all of Central Texas, all by Jared.
And look for our grand opening at Jones Crossing, October 14th. We team up with a local charity. My first store, I teamed up with Scotty's House. The second store, I think I'm looking at a couple different charities, but Ronald McDonald House is near and dear to our heart, due to our
yes.
situation up in Temple. So there's a good chance that we're going to be trying to raise some money for them. I was able to raise $8,000 my first year to give back to Scotty's House. We have a day of giving with Jersey Mike's, which is absolutely amazing. And it's actually an ex-Aggie, Dalton, who's up in the Dallas area. He's the area manager and franchisee up there that started the day of giving across the whole nation. And Jersey Mike's gives millions of dollars. We give 100% of our revenue a day in the last Wednesday, I believe, in March every year. And also during my 5-day grand opening, we'll run some kind of special to make sure that we raise as much money that we can for the local charities and try to get some money back into the community.
That's fantastic. So Jones Crossing grand opening October 14th. Is that correct?
14th. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jared. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for including me.
How about that, Ags? That is what you call some good bull. There were some valuable hacks that Jared shared with us. What was your favorite, Greg?
Well, Chris, I think the thing that really stuck out to me, there was two of them, and he said them real close together. But communication is key, and complacency is evil. I think that talking with entrepreneurs on a daily basis, being able to clearly communicate your vision to your staff, to your customers, to everyone that you work with, that is so critical. And everybody knows it, but very few people actually voice it out loud or actually work on it. But then I also loved how he never wanted to get complacent, always wanted his staff to get better, always wanted to teach them to be better, not only as employees and serving his customers, but as individuals and people. So those were really great takeaways for me. What about you?
I 100% agree on that. And I'm constantly preaching that to my employees, to myself, on proper communication. So I totally agree with you on that. My biggest takeaway, absolute biggest takeaway, was about constantly training, right? He's constantly got to train. It sounded like not only his employees, which we all have to do as entrepreneurs. We all, have to ensure that everyone is properly trained at their position, right? But it also sounds like he's got to train his customers too on how to order, because their ordering system is a little bit different than anywhere else, and their subs are just a little bit different, So I think that's a huge piece there, and something that I'm probably going to take away into my own business today is that I've got to constantly train my own customers as well, right? And it's just huge for any entrepreneur to not get that complacent part, right? Not sitting still and being okay with the norm. Always constantly sharpen the sword. I had another one though, right?
Okay, what was it?
Mayo, are you kidding me? To clean?
Oh my God, when he said that.
Oh, that cannot be sanitary, but I'm sure that they cleaned up afterwards. It's just something in probably the vinegar and the oil, and the eggs, maybe. Who knows what it is, but I'm going to try it on my stainless steel appliances and see if that works.
There you go. Make it all nice and shiny. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. We really hope that you enjoyed it and that you'll leave us a rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you found us. Be sure to check us out on our website at aggiegrowthhacks.com, where you can hear past episodes, connect with us, learn about your favorite hack, and hopefully maybe we'll feature you in a future episode.
Aggie Growth Hacks was produced by fellow Aggies Kyle Ackerman and Ben Wiggins with Podcast Architects. We also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head over to their website and find a program that's right for you. Just search up McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship in Google and head over there right now, or click on the link in this podcast. Join us next time where we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks, and Yagam.
Woo!